In this video, I'm going to model how to find domain and range, also x and y intercepts, maximums and minimums, and increasing and decreasing intervals, as well as how to make sense of functions like f of x equals g of x and f of x plus g of x. So first we're going to start with domain and range. And so on the 3.4 set, problem number 2, you can find the domain by looking at where does the graph start on the left and where it ends on the right. So where it starts on the left, you're looking for the domain, you're looking for the x values. Don't mind Copper, he's just walking around. And so the domain, you're looking for the x values. And so if you go down, you notice that it starts at -5. And if you look over here, it ends when x is 2. Since it's a closed dot, I'm going to use a bracket, and since this one's an open dot, I'm going to use a parentheses. For range is y. We go from bottom to top. This one, the bottom part, the lowest point is at -6, and the highest point is up here at 5. Since -6 is an open dot, I'm going to use a parentheses, and since 5 is a closed dot, I'm going to use a bracket. Over here, we should also be able to find domain and range. So domain, the leftmost point, since it's an arrow, it's going on to infinity over there, so that would be -infinity, since these are negative numbers on the x, and it goes all the way to the right where here's at 4. Since we're using infinity, infinity is always a parenthesis, and an open dot is a parenthesis. For range, our lowest point here goes across to -6, so it'll be -6, and since it's an open dot, it'd be parenthesis, and the range goes up here, and it looks like the line is starting to curve and flatten out here. It doesn't look like it's going to increase up like this. It doesn't look like it looks like it's more going like this. As it's going like that, it looks like it's going to stop here on -1, and it doesn't look like it crosses it, but it looks like it hugs the line. So I'm going to put a parenthesis, but it makes sense if someone else put a bracket, but I'm going to put a parenthesis. So, for example, some other things you could be looking for are x-intercepts and y-intercepts. So x-intercepts are things that cross the x-axis. So up here on number 4, here is an x-intercept, and here is a y-intercept. And the way we write x-intercepts is by writing them as ordered pairs. And so on this graph, this is over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so -5, and its ordered pair is -5, 0. And the y-intercept is up 1, 2, 3, 4. So the y-intercept is 0, 4, because the x ordered pair is always written x, comma, y. As far as max and mins, number 5 has a minimum. Minimum is the lowest point, so right here is a minimum, and so the ordered pair for the min is going to be at 1, comma, -2. And the max is up here at, over here at 6, comma, -1. Number 6 doesn't have a max or min because it's going up and down forever, and so there's not a location where it stops being at the highest point, and since it's going on forever in each direction, it doesn't have a max or min. But this particular function is always increasing, and so if you have a function that's always increasing, if you want to write the intervals for increasing, what you would do is for increasing, you'd write, well, if it's going forever, it'd be -infinity to infinity, and those are x values from over here all the way over there. It's always increasing. And the decreasing interval, well, there is none, so none, because it's never decreasing. And then over here we have questions to ask you to evaluate. So for example, for number 1, I'm asking you to solve for h of -4, where the value of h is at -4. And so this function, we're given the equation, and so h of -4, what I would do here is I'd replace t with -4, since that's what happens in the equation, since -4 is where t is located. So what I would do is go h of negative 4 equals, and normally it's 2 times t, but we know now t is negative 4. So 2 times negative 4 minus 5. And then I solve it algebraically. So 2 times negative 4 is negative 8 minus 5. And then negative 8 times minus 5 is negative 13. Problems like B here, what it's telling you is you don't know the t value, but you know this answer. And so what you would do there is you'd go h of t equals 2t minus 5. However, I know h of t equals 23. So I'm going to rewrite it, and I'm going to rewrite it right over here. So h of t is 23. So 23 equals 2t minus 5. And so now I have to solve for t. So the first thing I'm going to do is add 5 to both sides. And that would give me 28 is equal to 2t. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And what's left is t equals 14. So t equals 14. On this graph, when I'm doing this in a graph, and I'm not getting an equation, but I'm given a graph, this is my x value, it's my inputs, which is here, and these are my y's. So I'm going to go to 2 on the graph, so which is right here. And I'm going to go up and figure out where the graph intersects. It looks like it intersects right here at 9, so g of 2 is 9. This one, I'm not being told the x value, I'm being told the y value, so I know the y value is up here, which is right here, and so that's 3, and so I'm going to go down to figure out what the x value would be, which in this case would be 1.